Yo,
What's going on, CK Nation? It's your boy, the Boss Man CK, and on today's episode of CK Motorsports Full Throttle, Lane Riggs steals a truck win on the final lap at Naval Base Coronado. Austin Hill delivers an emotional victory for Richard Childress Racing. Corey Heim in Time shocks the world with a stunning Cup Series breakthrough and win, and we'll ask and discuss whether NASCAR should return to Coronado in 2027. And Christian Lundgaard dominates at Road America and gets his second IndyCar win of the year. We're going to talk about all this and more on this episode of the CK Motorsports Full Throttle, because we're all gas, no brakes, and full throttle for Cal. So let's get to it. Alrighty, so again, as you heard the preview, this weekend the NASCAR was doing the first time ever. We had a road course race on a military base. Yes, you heard it right. We were at a naval base called Coronado Naval Base in San Diego, California. And we were having some NASCAR action this weekend with the Truck Series, O'Reilly Series, and the Cup Series ended this weekend. Now, a little bit about Naval Base Coronado. It is on an island just right outside of San Diego, so there's only like one way in, one way out. There's a bridge, they say, that pretty much everybody has to use to get on the base. Also, I didn't know it until I heard on the radio and from some of the commentators that some of the scenes of Top Gun Maverick, and I believe Top Gun the original, were filmed there at the base for like the base scenes. But again, this was a historic moment for NASCAR, as they have never done this before. They were bringing a road course street race to the naval base. This is the first time it's ever been done, and boy, did it not disappoint at all. So we start on Friday. What a historic weekend for motorsports. NASCAR's first ever race weekend at Naval Base Coronado brought spectacular scenery and even better racing. Again, none of the drivers have ever been here. Only practice they had before this getting there was simulator time, and there's a lot of them that said they went on the simulator, and then when they got off the simulator and they got to the actual real course, it was pretty much spot on to what they were looking at on the real course, but there was some different trials and tribulations that the simulator didn't have that they experienced during the road course race. Like I said, 3 NASCAR National Series were held on the temporary street course, while IndyCar as well was on a road course itself, as they tackled legendary Road America in Wisconsin. By the end of the weekend, we witnessed first-time winners, emotional celebrations, championship implications, and one question everybody's asking: will NASCAR return to Coronado next year, or will they go to another military base, period? So Friday night, like I said, belonged to the Truck Series, and it was also a good run for 7-time. Jimmy Johnson had got a ride with Tricon Garage. It was running the one truck for that race, and I'll be honest with you, until he wrecked, it was good to see old 7-time leading the way for a while, because he did lead, I think, about 15 laps in the first stage. So it was good to see old Jimmy doing his thing again before he had some issues towards the end. The Truck Series race featured multiple cautions and late race drama as drivers struggled to navigate the tight confines of the Coronado street course. Like I said, very challenging. It was 16 turns to it. It was very challenging for a lot of drivers. You got to figure, on this course, they went from asphalt to concrete, back to asphalt to concrete. So they were going through different pavements. It wasn't just, asphalt and that was it. Coming to the white flag, it appeared, though, another driver had the race under control. Tyler Reef had it under control, and we thought he was going to get his first win, but he missed a turn, and then everything changed. Lane Riggs was there for the missed turn, made an aggressive move, capitalized on the final lap opportunity, and completed an incredible pass to score one of the biggest victories of his season. The young Ford driver once again showed why many believe he is the one of NASCAR's big future stars and a favorite to win the Truck Series championship. The Coronado victory may end up being one of the defining moments of his 2026 season. And yes, Lane Riggs won that race and ended up going back to victory lane for his fourth win, fourth or fifth. I think it's fifth. Maybe. Either way, he went to victory lane again. So, street courses always reward patience and precision, and Lane Riggs displayed both on Friday night. On Saturday, we moved over to Saturday. Saturday belonged to the O'Reilly Series, and what was going to happen? Would the road course ringers some of them that were in the race pulling the double duty, would they get the win? Will we have another surprise person come out and get a win? Or would Justin Allgaier be able to find some way to win on a road course like he's done in the past and pick up his sixth win of the year? On the first lap, we got the rolling pretty well. One of the most freakiest things, rarest things that ever happened. On one of the turns, Corey Day, unfortunately, bad luck continued for him as a manhole cover came up and went right through the whole opening for it on the front of his car that hit his radiator and the water pump. So he had to pit and come in and get that fixed because that pretty much tore his car up. Now, mind you, also, they were in a backup car because their primary car was wrecked during qualifying and practice. So we went red flag conditions for that one as NASCAR went around repairing all manhole covers and starting with the naval base engineers as well, going around and pretty much cementing down and welding down the manhole covers so we wouldn't have this issue happen again during this race, and definitely wouldn't have this issue happen again at the Cup Series race on Sunday. Saturday, at the end though, Saturday belonged to Austin Hill and Richard Childress. The O'Reilly Series event featured chaos from the opening green flag. There were cautions, there were crashes, and there was contact everywhere. But when the race entered its closing stages, Austin Hill rose to the occasion. Hill executed a flawless final restart and drove to an emotional victory for RCR. The celebration afterwards showed exactly how much this win meant to the organization. Sometimes racing victories mean more than just points. Sometimes they become moments for an entire team members forever, and this was one of those moments. Plus, you gotta figure, this was their first win since the passing of the late Kyle Busch. So it was emotional for Austin Hill. It definitely was emotional for Richard Childress, as when they interviewed him in Victory Lane, he got emotional, started crying. So it was good to see RCR get one after all the stuff they've been through. Like I said, Richard's been through it all as an owner. I mean, he's lost two of the greats that were driving for him when they passed away. Like I said, with Dale Sr. and now Kyle Busch. So the man's been through it all. So this was a good emotional win for RCR. Like I said, they hadn't been to Victory Lane since Kyle passed. So it was another good emotional win for them. You could see the emotion from Hill, the crew members, and everyone associated with Richard Childress Racing. A huge victory for one of NASCAR's most iconic organizations. All right, moving on to Sunday. Sunday's Cup Series race delivered the biggest surprise of the weekend. But before we got to that, we had a lot of racing action. The Cup Series drivers were rolling. SVG, who was the favorite to win, got the pole, but he said he was actually shocked that he actually got the pole because he felt like the car was good, but he wasn't good on that course. Also, a lot of drivers were complaining about tire wear, how long the tires would last. Some were saying that the tires would be cooked. As Dale Jr. and SVG said, the tires were cooked at about 3 to 5 laps into a run. And you got to figure each stage, except for the last one, was 20 laps long. Then the last one was 35. And if you could only make, but that was the thing though, with this street road course, you had to figure out how to manage tires. That was the only way around it. Because if your rear tires were gone after 5 laps, you still have 15 laps to go before pitting or before stage ended. And if a caution didn't come out, then you're kind of just doing what you can. Or you go in and pit early. Some teams did do that, though. Towards the end of stages, they were flipping the field. They were doing risk versus reward. Or reward versus risk. Some would give up valuable stage points to go in and pit to be around towards the end in the final stage. So, but like I said, at the end of the day, we had a great battle at the end, last 10 laps. Well, I thought Tyler Reddick had it, but one late wrong move, and then his tire went down, and next thing you know, we had a shock of the world. Corey Heim in the 67 for 23.11 shocked the world by getting his first Cup win. Now, mind you, Corey Heim is going to 23.11 next season for that full-time ride that Riley Herbst is leaving to go to Legacy for. So, Corey Heim, in my opinion, proved why he deserves that ride. He proved it yesterday. What a road course racer he is, man. I never knew how good he was. I knew he was good in trucks, but I never knew how good he was till I watched him yesterday as he would run the leaders down. He was able to manage the tires and save them as much as he needed. The young Toyota driver entered Coronado looking for experience. He left with a NASCAR Cup Series trophy. Throughout the race, Heim constantly kept himself near the front. He avoided mistakes, he nailed the strategy, and when the opportunity arrived late in the race, he capitalized. The result, a career-defining victory. For years, NASCAR insiders have talked about Heim's potential. Sunday proved that the hype is real. Like I said, he proved why he's going to be and was chosen to be in that full-time ride next season. And I believe, yes, we said this last year, when Connor Zillage was coming up, that Connor Zillage was going to be good this year, which he's had his spurts. I will say this, he did run well yesterday until he got caught up in that mess with Austin Hill and SVG on the restart. He was running well, led 29, I think they said 29 laps. So he was running solid, but again, Connor Zillage is having one of them rookie seasons. But I do think Corey Heim is going to be good for 23.11. Corey Heim is no longer simply a future star. He is now a Cup Series winner. With that victory, Heim immediately becomes one of the hottest stories in the garage and a driver everyone will be watching moving forward. On the other side of things, one organization that quietly had a tremendous weekend was RFK Racing. And we specifically mean Ryan Preece and Chris Buescher. And honestly, the whole Ford camp. The whole Fords ran well at Coronado. Blaney led for a hot minute. He won stage 1. Ryan Preece won stage 2. They ran top 10 almost all day long. Chris Buescher did really well in the 17. And Zane Smith also did well in the 38. So the Fords did run solid yesterday. I don't know if this means that they're going to get better as the weeks go. Who knows? But it was a solid showing for them. And I was really impressed. Like The Ford camp brought speed to Coronado. Chris Buescher and the RFK group showed competitive pace throughout the weekend and continued their strong road course program. While they didn't reach victory lane, Ford fans should be encouraged. RFK continues building momentum as NASCAR season enters its critical stretch. If this performance is any indication, more victories could be coming soon. We'll see. Like I said, I was very impressed with the Ford run. We do have another road course coming up next weekend as they travel to Sonoma. But the Fords are starting to show a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Now, my question for the Full Throttle, and like I said, I'll probably put this as well on as a reel, is after the exciting weekend we had at Coronado, and the racing was, we might as well just say the road course racing was really good. Do you guys think NASCAR should return to Naval Base Coronado next season? Well, my answer is simple. I believe so. If not there, let's go to another military base. If they can get clearance, if they can work it out. I know this was probably a one-off deal because we're celebrating America's 250th birthday this year. So I know this is probably a one-off deal. But if I'm NASCAR, I will look into this. Because that street racing yesterday was pretty phenomenal, man. I'll be honest with you guys. When I first heard the idea and then I seen the track layout, I was like, oh, this might be boring. I don't know about this. But what I saw yesterday was interesting. It was really exciting, 75 laps. The road course racing was phenomenal to me. And I think they need to give this another shot. I don't know if we... I say if we do go back to Coronado, go one more year. Don't do like the Chicago street course and go there 3 years and then all of a sudden the racing's not good anymore because the drivers have figured it out. Let's keep this kind of exciting. Let's do one more year there and then maybe look at somewhere else. The track produced excitement, the military setting created incredible television images, and fans packed the facility. And every series delivered memorable racing. Yes, there are logistical challenges associated with racing on active military installations, but NASCAR is always searching for signature events, and Coronado felt like a signature event. If NASCAR wants a unique destination on the schedule, I think Coronado deserves one more day. So again, I'll create a reel on it and then let me know. Should NASCAR return to Coronado in 2027? Let me know. All right, we also have road course racing in another type of series. We had road course racing for the IndyCar series at Road America. While NASCAR was making history in California, IndyCar was putting on another spectacular show at Road America. Christian Lundgaard continued his impressive 2026 campaign. The Errol McLean driver showed tremendous speed all weekend and executed perfectly during Sunday's race. And when the checker flag waved, Lundgaard stood in victory lane for the second time this season. Road America is one of the most demanding circuits in North America. Winning there requires speed, strategy, and consistency. And Christian Lundgaard had all three. The victory keeps him firmly in championship contention as the IndyCar season heads to the heart of the summer schedule. So congratulations Christian Lundgaard and them guys. But Alex Palou still continues to lead the points. But with about 8 races left, it's anyone's game. Also, we have ARCA Series racing at Berlin Saturday night. Congrats to Max Reeves in the JGR camp on getting that win in the Berlin 200. Quite a role he's on, especially in the ARCA Menards E Series, and then he raced in the main series and got his first win. So congratulations to him. Also, congrats to... Also, good run for Bubba Wallace. I will say that Bubba Wallace had trouble this weekend with a tire falling off, and he had to go 2 laps down. But congrats to him on getting the win, or not the win, but running and not letting that get to him, and getting a win and finishing P2. So congrats to him. Coming out of this weekend, we have learned 3 things. Lane Riggs is becoming a Truck Series superstar. Heim has arrived in the Cup Series and is showing us that what maybe the future looks like for him. And Christian Lundgaard is a serious IndyCar championship contender. We've had a lot of great road course racing this weekend, and I can only imagine what the rest of the season is going to look like for the IndyCar Series, the Truck Series, and the O'Reillys. So, alright, well, we're going to wrap this thing up. So, with that being said, thank you guys again for always supporting me and always showing up on and watching these. Like I said, I don't just do this for fun. I do this for my passion and sharing it with you guys, and I appreciate it always as well, man. Keep hitting the like button, keep subscribing, keep following me on social media posts, and keep watching them reels. And please answer them questions, man. Y'all opinions matter to me. I always love reading them. So, with that being said, I'm the boss man, CK. We're always all gas, no brakes, and we're always full throttle for Kyle. And I will see y'all on the next episode of CK Motorsports Full Throttle.